Hello, Shemai. Welcome back to my Wild Welsh Garden. Today I'm going to be making a start on replacing some of my wood chip paths, like I said in the plans that I was making a couple of weeks ago. I've actually come out to assess the damage after Storm Aisha, and I think we've got off remarkably lightly in South Wales. There's very little damage at all. It's a fabulous day, so I'll just take you out and show you. Fabulous blue sky. Blue, blue, blue. Lovely. So apart from the pots blowing around a bit from the pot store, not a lot has happened. I'd taken the net off the brassica cage because it was leaning a little bit from previous storms, and I think I'm quite glad I did that, really. So, wood chip paths. Before I get started, I'll show you what happened last week. This is down the side of my house. There's the polytunnel over there. And I have had a delivery of 3 not quite ton bags. I think he said there were 850 kilos of slate. So that's exciting. So all that has to go up there. Okay, so I'm going to have to take the slate up onto the garden because it is a little bit of a slope, a little bit of a hill that I'm on. So I'm either going to have to go up the steps there I don't think I'm going to get a wheelbarrow up there, or I'm going to have to go up this slope here to the woodshed, and then up those not so steep steps there, and then across the lawn to the paths over there, or over those wood stepping stones to those paths over there. I don't think that's going to work, is it? So, not entirely sure how this is going to work out. How I'm going to get all that slate up here from down there. So I'll have to think about it. And the thing is that there's quite a lot of wood chip paths in this garden. There's the main path that goes all the way up the middle of the garden, and then there's these much smaller paths between the beds, so they will all need replacing. So we just say hi to Peter and Paul on our way up the garden, and Ivy in the middle over there. And then there's all this area here, which I call the breakfast room. This has wood chip. It also has a lot of little plants germinating in it, and I've rescued some. On the left is some mallow, and on the right is oregano. And in this tray there are primroses. And this is actually a ragwort which I dug up from the path by the hedge. So when I was putting the new hedge plants in, I dug that up. That's a really good plant for a wild garden. The pollinators love it, and it's the larval food plant of the cinnabar moth. Yeah, so I'm hoping that I'm going to get some more seedlings of that. I did wonder if these were seedlings of the ragwort. I don't know, I'm not sure, so I potted them up anyway, and we'll see what they turn out to be. And these are the vegetable beds, and these have wood chip paths all the way around. So yes, it's a big job, and I think little and often is going to be the key. But there is a small, shorter path over the other side of the garden, and that's where I've decided I'm going to make a start. So I'll just take you over there now. That's the path there. It's the newest path in the garden. I made that when I demolished the sheds that were here, which are now on these two beds, which are now going to be grassy areas. And it's short, and it's also the way that I'm going to bring the rest. I'll have to bring it this way, so it'd be a good idea to do that first. Those piles of wood chips are the wood chips that I brought from round the polytunnel when I took up the membrane and the wood chips and sowed it with grass seed last October. So I'm just going to take up the wood chips from there, put them up on the piles, and then that can be mulch on these beds in a month or so when I start the tidy up. And there's a couple of little primroses that I'll dig up. There's one just there, and I'll just put them in the lawn. And the other thing that I neglected to say, which is relevant to this situation, is that I don't actually have a wheelbarrow at the moment. I've knackered so many wheelbarrows in this garden. Lovely corners. So yeah, I need to buy a wheelbarrow. I didn't do anything out here yesterday because of Storm Jocelyn. But again, we got off very lightly here in South Wales. No damage at all. The winds weren't very high, but there was lots and lots of rain all day. So I don't think I actually came out of the house. And the day before, I started to take up the wood chips. So I think I've done maybe half. And the other thing is I've decided that it's very inefficient to pile the wood chips up there and then move them onto the beds later, because that's 2 actions. So I'm going to cut that down to 1 and put them straight onto the beds. Now, why didn't I think of that? So that's my tasks for the afternoon, and we'll see how we go. So there it is, all clear of wood chips. And I've even taken some of the wood chips off the pile as well and excavated a poor geranium. that there's my friend the robin, come to see what he can find. And there's my lovely posh new wheelbarrow that I'm certainly not going to lose in the garden like I lose trowels and secateurs. And I've had a go at shoveling the slate, and in one little shovelful it isn't too heavy. So that's a dozen of those little coal shovels full of slate, which it looks such a tiny amount, but you know, it is actually quite heavy. So I think, like I said, little and often is going to be the key. I've been to see my chiropractor and my back's in all good working order, so here goes. So far so good. 2 of those little barrows filled those middle sections, and I found some wood in the woodshed to make a ramp up to the top one. So if this works, then that's how I'll be able to get up onto the lawn to get round to do the other paths. So fingers crossed. Ta-da! All finished. Yes, it was not easy, and I may well have to ask for some help. I also found a stone that just fits in there to make an edging there. There we go. Just christened it all the way to the top. That's what it looks from the other side. So yeah, I'm happy with that. I think that's going to work. Obviously, as time goes on, it will sort of weather and bed down, and the weeds will start to germinate in it, and it'll look a bit more like a path should do in a wild garden. But yeah, so that's the end of that little part of the project. So I've just finished looking at these lovely corners. And thanks for watching, thanks for your company, joining me wilding my garden. If you've enjoyed the video, please like it and subscribe if you'd like to follow me on my journey. I'd love to have your company, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Wild Welsh!